Most Airbnb hosts don't have a bad property. They have a pricing problem. You can have great photos, a beautiful space, and a perfect location. But if your price is wrong, none of that matters. Pricing is what determines whether people see your listing, whether they click, and whether they book. If you're serious about getting this right from the beginning, make sure you subscribe to Casa De Luz and follow this playlist. Everything we share here is designed to help hosts build sustainable, long-term success. At Casa De Luz, we focus on real hosting principles, practical systems, and decisions that actually impact performance over time, not just quick tips or short-term wins. In this lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how pricing works and, more importantly, how to actually set it the right way in 2026. Lesson 2. Pricing. Let's start with something most hosts don't realize. Pricing is not just a number, it's a signal. When you set your price, Airbnb uses it to decide where to rank your listing, who to show it to, and how competitive you are. This is why pricing directly affects your visibility, your click-through rate, and your bookings. If your price is competitive, you appear higher in search and reach more potential guests. If it's not, you slowly disappear. Now think about this from a guest's perspective. When someone opens Airbnb, they are instantly comparing multiple listings at once, and the first thing they notice is the price. So even if your property is objectively better, if your price looks out of place, most guests will never even click to find out. For example, if similar listings are priced at 120, 125, and 130, and you list yours at 165, you've already lost the majority of potential clicks before they even see your photos. A common question is how Airbnb decides who gets shown first. The answer is that Airbnb is constantly comparing your listing to similar ones in your area. If your price isn't aligned with the market, your visibility drops. Pricing, therefore, controls both your exposure and your income, and you need to balance both rather than focusing on just getting bookings. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Pricing controls both visibility and revenue. You need both, not just one, and this is exactly where most new hosts make their first mistake. Your base price is your foundation. It is the starting point that everything else builds on, including your weekend pricing, your seasonal adjustments, and your discounts. Airbnb will suggest a base price when you set up your listing, but relying on that blindly can cost you money because those suggestions are designed to increase overall bookings on the platform, not to maximize your individual profit. Instead, you need to benchmark your pricing manually. Start by searching your area as a guest would. Look for listings that are similar to yours in size, location, and amenities, and pay attention to what they charge on weekdays and weekends. This gives you a realistic range for your market. For example, if similar properties are charging between 110 and 140 on weekdays and 140 to 180 on weekends, your base price should sit within that range. A common question at this stage is what to do if your place is nicer than others. You can price slightly higher, but only after you have built trust through reviews. At the beginning, the goal is not to maximize profit immediately, but to position yourself competitively so you can generate bookings and build credibility. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. When starting, slightly underprice to get your first bookings and reviews faster. Now let's simplify something that has a big impact. Not all nights are equal. Demand changes throughout the week. Weekdays tend to have lower demand in most markets, while weekends typically have higher demand due to short trips, events, and leisure travel. Your pricing should reflect that difference. For example, if your base price is 120, you might set your weekday pricing between 100 and 110, and your weekend pricing between 130 and 160. That difference might seem small, but over the course of a year it adds up significantly. Even a modest increase on weekends applied consistently can generate meaningful additional revenue without any extra effort. A common concern is what to do if weekdays aren't getting booked. In that case, you can lower your weekday rates slightly to remain competitive, but you should avoid matching weekend pricing. The key is to treat each part of the week based on its demand level. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Even a small weekend increase can significantly boost your monthly revenue. Now here's what really separates beginner hosts from more experienced ones. Your pricing should not stay the same throughout the year because the short-term rental market is seasonal and demand shifts depending on the time of year, holidays, and local events. Many hosts set one price and leave it unchanged, but that approach misses opportunities. Your market will have high seasons, low seasons, peak holidays, and event-driven spikes in demand. During high season, guests expect to pay more, and you should increase your rates accordingly. During low season, you may need to adjust your pricing to maintain occupancy, but without undervaluing your property. For example, during summer months or peak travel periods, you can raise your prices confidently. During slower months, you can make smaller adjustments to stay competitive. Local events are another important factor. A festival, concert, or major conference can significantly increase demand in your area. And if your pricing doesn't reflect that, you leave revenue on the table. Many hosts ask how they can tell when to raise or lower prices. The answer lies in observing your booking pace, checking competitor listings, and staying aware of local demand signals. If your calendar is filling up too quickly, it often means your price is too low. If bookings are slow, it may indicate that your price is too high for current demand. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Check your calendar weekly. Small adjustments during peak demand can make a big difference. Now let's look at something that often gets overlooked. Guests don't just look at your nightly rate, they look at the total price. This includes your cleaning fees, as well as any weekly or monthly discounts you offer. If your cleaning fee is too high, it can discourage shorter stays because the total cost feels less attractive. On the other hand, offering strategic discounts can encourage longer bookings. For example, a guest comparing a 3-night stay versus a 7-night stay may choose the longer option if there is a clear price advantage. This not only increases your occupancy, but also reduces the number of turnovers you need to manage. A common question is whether discounts are worth it. The answer is yes, when used strategically. Weekly discounts can help you secure longer stays, while monthly discounts can attract guests such as remote workers or contractors. Longer stays reduce your workload, create more predictable income, and often result in better guest relationships. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Longer stays reduce workload and increase consistency. Discounts can help you achieve that. Airbnb also offers something called smart pricing, which automatically adjusts your rates based on demand and market data. While this can be convenient, it comes with a trade-off. The system is designed to maximize bookings across the platform, not necessarily your profit. It does work well in certain situations, such as filling empty dates or responding to sudden drops in demand, but it can also push your prices too low in order to secure bookings. This is why, if you choose to use smart pricing, you need to stay in control. The most important setting is your minimum price. Without it, Airbnb may lower your rates below a level that is sustainable for you. To set this properly, you should calculate your total cost per night, including cleaning, utilities, and platform fees, and then add a reasonable profit margin. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Always set a minimum price. Never let your listing drop below your comfort level. Now this next part is critical, especially if you are just starting. When your listing is new, you have no reviews, and no reviews means no trust. Guests are naturally more comfortable booking a listing that already has positive feedback, even if your property is just as good or better. Because of this, your initial goal is not profit, it is momentum. You want to secure bookings, deliver a great experience, and build a strong review base as quickly as possible. The process is simple. You start with a competitive price, attract your first guests, provide an excellent stay, earn positive reviews, and then gradually increase your rates. Listings with reviews can charge more and still maintain strong booking performance because trust has been established. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Your first 5 reviews matter more than your first profit. Pricing is not something you set once and forget. Your market is constantly changing, with new competitors entering, demand fluctuating, and traveler behavior evolving. To stay competitive, you need to monitor your performance regularly. Pay attention to your listing views, your booking pace, and your calendar gaps. If you are getting very few views, your price may be too high. If your calendar is filling up too quickly, your price is likely too low. If you are fully booked months in advance, that is often a sign that you could be charging more. Many hosts wonder how often they should adjust their pricing. The most effective approach is to review it weekly. Small, consistent adjustments based on real data are far more effective than large, infrequent changes. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Small adjustments weekly are better than big changes monthly. Finally, let's address some of the most common mistakes. One of the biggest is using a fixed price throughout the entire year, which ignores seasonal demand and local events. Another is failing to adapt to changes in the market, which can lead to missed opportunities or lost bookings. Overpricing a new listing without reviews can slow down growth significantly, while underpricing for too long can reduce your overall profitability. These mistakes usually come from treating pricing as a one-time setting rather than an ongoing strategy. In reality, your pricing should evolve as your listing grows, your reviews improve, and your position in the market strengthens. Now here's one of the most important tips for you. Your pricing should evolve as your listing grows. Pricing is one of the most powerful tools you have as a host. When you understand how it works and apply it correctly, it directly improves your visibility, your bookings, and your revenue. At Casa De Luz, everything we share is based on helping hosts build long-term, reliable results, not just short-term wins. If you found this helpful, subscribe and follow this playlist, where we break down every part of hosting step by step, so you can build your Airbnb the right way from the beginning. In the next lessons, we'll go deeper into photos, listing descriptions, amenities, house rules, auto message templates, and calendar management. We'll see you in the next lesson.